Hey everybody, Dr. Kaitlin here with Fit PT. I'm going to take you through today how I would teach somebody to first start working on RDLs. So RDL stands for Romanian Deadlift, and this is a great way to strengthen the back side or the posterior chain side of the body, including the hamstrings, the glutes, and the spinal extensor muscles. So today I'm going to walk you through the form of how to do a standard double leg RDL. Okay, so first and foremost, stance. You're gonna find a stance with your feet about hip width apart, creating a little space, and you're gonna always have a soft bend in your knees. So if I face you sideways here, I want you to think about your knees are not locked out, but they're slightly unlocked, but still somewhat straight. We're not gonna sink down into a full squat position during this particular movement. Okay, so we've got the lower body kind of set up. Now let's kind of work up the chain and talk about the pelvis. So if I put my hands on my low back and my low belly, there's the potential to really stick your tailbone out and arch your back, or there's the potential to really tuck your butt underneath and kind of round and tuck your tailbone. We're gonna find a position that's kind of in between, that happy median. So this is called neutral pelvis or neutral spine. So this is where we're gonna stay the entire time that we're going through this RDL movement, okay? So kind of referencing pelvis here. Now let's talk about the rib cage and the upper body. So we do want to keep our collarbones or our chest open, but not at the expense of our rib cage. See how I kind of like overextended myself here, arched my back, flared my ribs in order to open my chest. We're not going to compromise these two things in order to get the chest open. So again, I'm going to find my neutral pelvis, soft bend in my knees. I'm going to think about opening the collarbones here, but keeping my ribs connected down into my abdomen. So already my core is working a little bit here, kind of drawing inward for that control. Okay, so this is kind of like the starting position right here in this neutral position. Okay, so now in order to perform the RDL, I'm going to start to bend or hinge forward, just enough so my hands to begin with go a little bit towards the kneecaps or below the knees, okay? Notice how my spine is still straight, there's still a slight bend in my knees, and my pelvis is still neutral, okay? My gaze is actually kind of a foot or two in front of my toes. I'm not lifting up this way because I don't want to break my form. I want you to pretend as if you were holding a tennis ball underneath your chin right here. You're gonna keep hold of that tennis ball the entire time, okay? In this bottom part of the movement, I'm going to think about activating the backs of my legs, particularly my hamstrings, all the way up to my glutes or the bottom of my butt cheeks. I'm going to activate there, take a big breath in. Exhale, I'm going to lift from the back side of my body. Now your back muscles are working, but I want you to key in more towards the legs. The back tends to take over a lot of times if we're not careful, and I want your focus to be more on the back side of the legs and the hips for this one. So as I inhale, I'm going to go down. Exhale, activate the back of the legs to lift and rise. If it helps you when you're first learning, I often encourage hands at the hips. Inhale, straight back, exhale, activate the back of the legs to rise. You must master this movement with body weight only before we start talking about adding weights. Okay, so I encourage you to practice that at home, practice the breath, practice the position, the activation. Now I'm going to show you how to add some weights. People tend to prefer one or the other. We can use a kettlebell or we can use 2 dumbbells. You also could use a barbell for this, but I'm going to happen to show you one of each with the dumbbells and the kettlebell. So again, facing sideways, I'm going to choose to face my palms towards my body, and I'm going to think about sliding the weights down. Now, as soon as I add a weight, the tendency is to let the shoulders roll forward. So I'm not going to break my neutral form. I'm going to roll my shoulders back, keep my ribs connected, keep my core connected. Inhale, slide the weights gently down my body. Again, just going to the knees. If I go too low, see how that breaks my form, okay? So I'm just going until where I feel active in my body, supported in my body, and not breaking my form in my spine. Exhale to rise. Inhale, lower. Breathing from my rib cage, belly stays pulled in, core is active the whole time. Exhale, rise. Thinking about the back side of the legs here. Okay, so that would be an RDL using dumbbell weights. If you prefer to hold a long barbell, barbell hands apart. If you're holding a kettlebell, you can just hold your hands center. Same idea here, inhale, lower. Kettlebell comes to the middle of the legs, exhale, rise. One other thing I want to mention is notice at the top of my range, I'm not thrusting my hips forward beyond this neutral position. I'm coming to neutral, I'm getting a glute squeeze or activator, but not because I'm pushing past. I'm just coming up, little tuck, and then inhale right back down. So we can activate our glutes and our backside body without having to break our form. All right, you guys, that is how I would teach my clients here at Fit PT how to perform an RDL. I hope you found this helpful. If you like what you see here, be sure to subscribe to your Fit PT so you can get more updates on the latest and greatest how-to videos for exercise movement.